Hi, this is Caroleena, and I'm going to do a tutorial on vertical chest hooping toward the sky. This is what that is, that looks like. And now I'm going to talk about how to do it, and I'm also going to give you some ways to make it look really cool, some finishing touches. So the first thing that I would recommend is take your hoop, press it behind your back, under your armpits, and then point it up and get yourself a good stretch right here. So first stretch your arms and then stretch from the small of your back. Then come back up and bend your knees and stretch from the small of your back. And come back up, straighten your knees. And this time bend your knees, let your pelvis slide forward so you're not laying back at all. Your pelvis is just sliding forward until you are laid back. And then straighten back up by sliding that pelvis back under you and straightening up from the bottom. So that being able to slide the pelvis back is what allows you to lay back in a way that you can still breathe. Big important thing. But also gives you a lot more back space that you can hoop on. So when we're hooping horizontally with on our chest, we have to go front and back, or side, side, or we can do small circles, but for the front and back push that we're going to use vertically, to replicate it horizontally, it would be front, back, and the hoop is always hitting us in the same place in the back. But vertically, it doesn't have to be that way. And the reason I just lost my voice is because I dropped back from the top of my head. I forgot what I was just telling y'all. Bend your knees and lay back like this. From your knees to your pelvic bone to your small of your back up. So when you're hooping on your chest, you can hoop on your back right behind your shoulder blades, or you can hoop, a couple of inches down from that, or you can hoop a couple of inches down from that. As long as your hoop, when it travels around, is not going to hit the ground or hit your bottom, you can hoop all the way down to here and still be on your chest. It might even be possible to do it under your bottom and still be on your chest. So just know that, because where we first learn chest hooping, which is leaning all the way back and then pushing up, 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 is actually one of the hardest ways to do vertical sky-facing hooping. Instead, if you can bend your knees and lay back and put your hoop a little further down so that it's really around your waist level, and you're going to close your hoop to your opposite side, and when it's closing, your knees are going to go down with it, and when you take your hand off, your heart is going to lead up. And it's just like you've got a string that's on your heart that's pulling you up, up, up. And once you get up there, somebody lets go of the string, and you just fall down, up, down, up, down. So your heart leads up, and your knees releasing is the down. So watch how far down my back I can do this. And once I can get it like mid-back, I can straighten up instead of having to lean back. So I always teach people, when you're learning chest hooping, to hold one hand in the other hand so you don't have two hands flying around that you're trying to see what I just did to my balance. It messes up your balance, and we're trying to make sure that both of our knees are bending equally and that we're lifting straight from our heart. It can help to have our hands also pointing there, almost like we're diving. So I'm pulling up from the heart, relaxing my knees. Up through the heart, relaxing my knees. My feet are side by side in this, and as long as both knees fall the same distance at the same time, my hoop should stay level. The moment that one starts to go, you see what happened with my hoop? But that said, I actually kind of like to use bending my hips to make certain effects with them, and I'll talk to you about that in just a second. But before I do that, I want to remind you that when you're learning this, it's about the relaxing back, making sure you have a nice plain, straight plane, close it slowly. If you, and all the way. So if I close it fast and I stop here, I don't know when that hoop is going to hit me. I don't have any idea when to relax. If I wait and make my hand close all the way to here, then I know exactly when to go down and come up. So release it, hold your hands together, Let your knees bend equally up, up, up from the heart. Remember to breathe. Remember to breathe. That is a big one. Okay, so ways that you can dress this up. If you start by holding your hands together, then the first piece of handwork you can think about doing is like 2 fists. You can roll those fists. You can roll them over each other. You can cross them. Oops. So there's all kinds of stuff that you can do that way. You can make patterns with your hands. As far as your feet, something that I think is cool is to take one foot, put it slightly in front of the other, and do this so that you're lifting with your hip at the same time. Hip, 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 hip. I'm straightening my right leg. The leg that I'm presenting is the one that's doing the cool thing. So if I did the same thing on the other side, and I had my foot to the back, it doesn't look nearly as interesting. So you want to think about, if I'm dancing for somebody who's right over here, then I'm going to want to make sure that I've got this nice profile, that my arms are open, that my head is inside of my arms, instead of, one of them right in front. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so, whoo, hit my bottom. So it just takes practice, but you can do it. Remember to breathe. Remember especially to breathe when you're relaxing back. A big inhale. Relax your knees. Let your pelvis slide forward and relax back. When you really work at it, you can relax back quite a long way. It gives you a much bigger space to hoop on. It's a much more relaxed way of dropping back. If you're dropping from your head, you can't breathe. If you are trying to do this and you can't breathe, readjust until you can breathe, and everything else will flow from there. Okay. Mwah.